I have been meaning to film this video for hours. The very second that I press record, a party starts 2 doors down. So if you can hear the kids screaming and the conversation's going and the pool dripping in the background, which is a lot louder than I thought it would be, I am very sorry. I'm going to push through this because this video is going up tomorrow. We're working with what we got, and outside just has better lighting than inside because it's a cloudy day and inside looks a whole lot darker than outside. Who else gets excited, like truly excited or completely elated when a friend or a family member gets an opportunity, starts their own business, or hits like a really big milestone? Because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one that does this. Like the way that I get excited, you would think that it was my opportunity. And it doesn't just stop at friends and family, it's even for the people that I used to know. Seeing other people succeed brings me so much joy. Like I am so excited to celebrate them. But the real question here is, why can't I do it for myself? Why is it so hard for me to celebrate me? Especially when I know the work that I put in to have that success. When I graduated undergrad, I remember, I have to concentrate for that. I can't multitask. When I graduated undergrad, I remember, well, that's a lot, Simone. When I graduated undergrad, I remember thinking nothing of it. I had such a hard time like celebrating myself and celebrating the fact that I'm graduating undergrad. Which makes no sense because I know that I'm fully capable of celebrating the occasion, but for some reason, I'm only capable of doing that when it's for someone else. And I think I've talked about this before, but I think the reason why it's so hard for me to celebrate my own milestones is because I know my end goal. I couldn't see why graduating undergrad was something to be celebrated. Because at the end of it, I didn't become an optometrist yet, so what am I celebrating? And it sounds dumb out loud, but this is what I was telling myself. But honestly, I wish that I took the approach that my mom took at all of my graduations. You know what they say at every graduation, hold the applause until the end. And you have those families that don't listen and still applaud their family member at that moment. Yeah, that's my mom. That's my mom. But I honestly wish that I took that same approach that my mom takes at all of my graduations for myself. Put it on the screen so you guys can understand what I mean. Follow me on Instagram, you've already heard this.
Simone Wallace.
That's my baby! And she says the exact same 3 words at all of my graduations. That's my baby! Every time. I love it. It's almost a tradition for me now. I love how my mom doesn't wait to the end. I love that she celebrates that moment in that moment. Not at the end when everything's said and done. And I feel like that is literally the approach that I should be taking. Just because I am not at the end of my journey or where I think my journey ends, doesn't mean that I can't applaud myself in the moments that are important. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is the approach that I need to take with life. Don't wait to the very end to celebrate or to acknowledge that moment. It's more than okay to applaud yourself in that moment or celebrate in that moment. Like that's what she was doing. She could have waited to the end to applaud with everyone else, but then I couldn't hear her. And she wanted to make sure that I could hear her in that moment. You know, as of recently, I have made the conscious effort to not only acknowledge, but celebrate even the smallest wins. And you know that saying that goes like, save your coins for a rainy day or something like that. And this is gonna sound corny, but this is something that I said to myself I think it was like 2 days ago. And I feel like it really applied to my current situation or my current experiences. And I said to myself, celebrate all of your wins. You never know when it's gonna rain. Who else is not in a great mood on a cloudy, gloomy, rainy day? Because I know it's not just me. I know it's not just me. For some reason, I'm so heavily affected by the cloudiness of outside. Some people love rainy days and I don't think I'll ever get it. It's a mindset thing, I feel like. But as a student that is affected by the weather, I feel like rainy days are the worst during exam season especially. For me at least, because I know that I get very little, very, very little studying done on those gloomy rainy days. And I can't sit there and just wallow in my sadness. I have to push past it in some way. And this is the reason why I say celebrate your small wins. Now let me really paint this picture for you, because these are the same wins that I use to motivate myself at the middle of the day to actually study. I get out of bed, do my skincare, and make myself a full breakfast with my coffee That is a win. Oh, are you kidding? Oh my gosh. I get myself to go to the gym. That is a win. I sit down to plan an entire video, like a brainstorming session, which is really, really nice for me because that helps to jumpstart my brain. That is a win for me, especially because that then turns over into the motivation that jumpstarts my study session. But that's just one very small, very simple example of why you should celebrate even the smallest wins. School is hard. It's hard, point blank, period. It is hard. And not just for the content, but the workload. There's so much work at all times. The best thing about filming on cloudy days is that when you run out of storage and you gotta make some more space, by the time you come back, the lighting still looks the same. So we're gonna keep going. Oh, I forgot the powder was open. I'm currently doing my 4th year externship, and I'm currently at one of my sites, and I always try to celebrate all of my little wins. I come in every day, you know, making the conscious decision to, you know, be excited for the day, because there will be times when I do not feel adequate. That word literally reminds me of, what is your biggest fear, son? Name that movie in the comment section. Name that movie. That's like one of my favorites. Anyways, I don't always feel like I know the things that I'm supposed to know. I don't feel smart enough some days. And that is the rainy days that I'm referring to. But that is the reason why I celebrate all my small wins and acknowledge them, because it kind of puts me on this little high, which is great, because when I have one of those days where I feel like I'm doing everything wrong, like this past Thursday, I'm not already starting on my day in a negative headspace. It just makes it so that it is harder for me to be overcome with disappointment in myself at the end of that day, that rainy day, because I spent the entire day kind of hyping myself up. Last vlog, I shared a little story time of a procedure that I finally got to do on a real patient while I was in clinic last week. I showed you guys a video of it, and I was just so proud of myself. It wasn't anything big, it wasn't a major procedure. I was just proud of myself for how steady my hand was, although it did take me forever to like get close enough to the eye to start the procedure. But I tried not to, like, I would joke about it, but I try not to focus on that. I focus on the fact that like I did a pretty good job. Eyeshadow as blush because, you know, I have yet to buy myself blush. At the end of the day, it is a journey, and although you might not have reached your end goal, every milestone that you get to, that you achieve on your way over to your end goal, that is a big bug. Anyways, every milestone that you achieve on your way to your end goal is bringing you closer to your end goal, and that should be celebrated, because you like it just makes sense. I feel like this video is gonna be so terrible to edit. So my message to you guys is celebrate all of the milestones on your journey to whatever your end goal is, big or small, they all matter. Because although you haven't reached your end goal yet, because even though you haven't reached your end goal yet, each one of those milestones build the foundation for you to achieve your end goal. So they're just as important, if not more important, than your actual end goal, because without them, you wouldn't even be where you are now. Graduating undergrad, even though it was what I expected of myself, was still something that should have been celebrated completely, because it brought me one step closer to my end goal. I didn't realize that then, but I definitely realize that now. And therefore, it should be celebrated as such. There's so many opportunities to make yourself proud of yourself, just like you are proud of your friends. And all of those times should be celebrated. I'm not saying you don't go out and eat every single time you hit a milestone, but just acknowledge them. Take a second to acknowledge them. If you made it to this far in the video, thank you so much for watching all the way through. I really, really do appreciate it. If this is not your first time seeing my face, make sure to consider subscribing. And until next time, guys, stay hydrated, stay motivated, and mind your business. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.